Okay, so welcome to the training for TutorPanel. By now, you should have received an email asking you to complete your account setup. It's just an email with a link that's going to ask you to create a password. You already have an account created in TutorPanel, and all of your students have been added to your roster. All your current students have been added to your roster so that you can go ahead and build that schedule. So I'm going to walk through all of the basics and hopefully hit on any questions that you might have. If I miss anything, please don't hesitate to call or email with any questions as you start to use TutorPanel. So we're going to start using this program starting January 21st. So your last regular billing cycle will end on January 20th, and you're going to submit your invoices as you usually have. Starting January 21st, any appointments that occur January 21st and on will now be within the TutorPanel system. And I'll go through all of these steps. So once you have received the email to complete your account setup for TutorPanel and create your password and everything's ready to go, all you need to do is go to the PDX Reading Specialist website. You should be able to view my screen right now. I'm sharing that with everybody. So once you set everything up, all you need to do is go to the PDX Reading Specialist website. At the very bottom of the page on the right-hand side, you'll see a box right here that says Specialist and Client Login. You're going to go ahead and log in with your account information that you created. And I went ahead and set up a dummy account so that I could go ahead and show everybody this training. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. So I'm actually set up, I set up a dummy account for as if I was a teacher. So I'm logging in just as you would once you have your account set up. So I'll go ahead and log in. So once you log in, you're going to be directed to the home page. On the home page, you're going to be able to view a number of things. I currently don't have anything scheduled or set up because I'm going to walk through that with you today. So on your home page, you will see your upcoming lessons. So anything you have showing up on your schedule, anything upcoming will be shown up on a list here with all of your students' names and their upcoming appointments. Any upcoming birthdays of any of your students will be showing up here. I didn't get every student's birthdays input, but I'm working on that. Most of the birthdays have been inputted. All unreconciled lessons will be listed here, and I'll go over all of what unreconciled lessons mean and how to reconcile them and all of that shortly. So this is basically your home base where you can kind of view at a glance what's coming up on your schedule. If you'd like, you can go ahead and go to your profile, update any information that you like or correct any information. Here you can change anything you need to. The only information that parents will be able to view is your name, your phone number, and your email address. So please be sure that what is entered here is correct, because parents will be able to view that contact information within their own TutorPanel account. So again, all they will see is your name, your phone number, and your email address. So you're welcome to fill in your address if you'd like, any other additional information if you'd like. Down here on the right corner, it says receive email lesson reminders. If you would like lesson reminders emailed to you for all of your upcoming lessons, you're welcome to click that, and reminders will be automatically emailed to you regarding each of your sessions. If you prefer not to have that happen, then just leave it unchecked. Be sure to click the Save button once you've updated all of your information. And then let's see here. So the next tab would be Hours. And under the Hours tab, this is kind of this is where you can basically have all of your reports for your hours and your payment, what is due to you for pay. You can adjust the date here and submit that so that it'll pull up all of the sessions within that date and post your total earnings for that. Let's see here. So that's just helpful for your own personal records. Under the Students tab, you will see a list of all of your students. I created a dummy student. Her name is Jane Test. Her mom's name is Mom Test, and her mom's email address is here. Whoops, sorry about that. So there, I just clicked on it, and you can update all of the student information within that account if you'd like, but I've already done all of the information that you would possibly need. So here you will see a list of all your students should you ever need to find their contact information, locations, those kinds of things will all be entered in that tab. Tasks, please just ignore this tab. I will not be sending you any tasks. I'll still communicate with you by email, letting you know when we have a student for you or if something comes up. So please just ignore this. In the future, we might take advantage of this option, but for now, please just ignore the task button. This is the calendar tab. I'm going to come back to this because this is obviously what we're going to be using the most, but I'll come back to that in just a moment. So under reports, this is just going to be a daily summary of your schedule, any tasks that are due. Again, I will not be sending you tasks, but in the future, if we were to do that, then this is where you would see everything. Under files, this is also a tab that we will not be utilizing for now. We may in the future. This is a great place in the future where if you're working with students on things other than Barton or Fast Forward and they need to upload files to you, this is a great place where you can keep all of that information. Or if we need to send you any files such as any reports or those kinds of things before you get started with a student, this might be an area that we take advantage of. For now, we're going to continue with just emailing back and forth, to keep things as confidential as possible. But in the future, we may take advantage of this option. The support page under the Knowledge Center. This is where if you have any difficulties with the program, you can type in a question. How do I schedule a lesson? And it'll pull up setting up a lesson schedule, adding new lesson type, all these kinds of things so that it should be able to answer any of your questions. Again, please don't hesitate to contact me first. I'm happy to walk you through any questions you might have with anything. So just give me a call or send me an email. So I'm going to go back to the home page. Again, this is where you're going to see everything at a glance. So you received a pretty detailed document regarding TutorPanel with all of the instructions and some screenshots and pictures taken. So I'm going to try to follow that as best as I can as we walk through this training. So you're welcome to refer to that printout, or you're welcome, to rewatch this video. Again, please don't hesitate to call or email if you have any questions. So we already went through the login process. So we already went through all the basics of what you see here on this homepage, as well as all of these various tabs along the top. So the most important thing is how to utilize your calendar. So this right here, you'll have all these various tabs here. So view calendar will take you straight to your calendar. You can change the view of what you're seeing. Right now I have it in week, but you're welcome to change it to month or just by the day. And this will display all of your students and their sessions for that week or the month, day, whatever you choose. Over here will help you navigate back and forth between 1 week to the next, or 1 month to the next, or the day to the next, depending on your display. Let's see here. So back to the calendar tab. If you'd like to add a lesson, this is one way to do it, where you scroll down to add event and then add lesson. It'll take you directly to the add lesson page. I'll go over this in just a minute. Your lesson history, this will display all of your unreconciled lessons or reconciled lessons. So your past lessons. So calendar settings, you're not going to need to bother with. Everything is pretty much standard here. So I'm going to go back to view calendar. So like I said before, when you're trying to add an appointment, add a student schedule to your calendar, you can do that a few different ways. You can go to calendar, you can go to add event, and then add lesson. It'll take you to the page to add the lesson to the calendar. You are also welcome to come over here to the right-hand side and click on add lesson. It'll take you to the exact same page. Another option is to just click on the time slot you're wishing to book, and it'll take you to the add lesson page. So I am going to show you how to add the lesson within that page. So I'm going to go ahead and go to add lesson. So here you're going to have all the information you need to set up that schedule. So all your students will be here. Well, let's start at the top here. So under participants, you will always have single selected. We don't usually ever book in groups. Most sessions will always be single. If for any reason there's a group pop-up, please contact me and we'll go from there. But you, for now, will always select single for participants. Under student, please select from your roster the student you're wishing to schedule. So I have Jane Test as my student. Under lesson name, please just put your student's name again. This makes it easier to view at a glance when you're looking at your calendar. And it also makes it easier for us when we come in as an administrator to view all of your sessions for all specialists and students. Under lesson type, this student is set up for a default standard tutoring, which would include Barton tutoring and any fast-forward tutoring that occurs one-on-one with a student is always going to be standard tutoring. So that's when we're billing at an hourly rate. If you're one of the specialists that is still seeing students virtually with fast-forward, then you would select the fast-forward monthly for fast-forward monthly support because we bill that at a standard rate. If you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to call me. But most of you almost always will select standard tutoring. Under description, you're welcome to include anything there that you wish. I don't have anything to include with description. Under location, you can, most of the time, you'll be selecting the student's home or the library. That'll be the typical standard. If that is not the case, then you can select add new location. And I'm going to put student school. And we'll just say that it is Bridal Mile. So that will be added so that you know where the location is. For the start date for the student, I'm gonna select today's date as the start date. The lesson duration will always be timed. And then the start time, I'm just gonna make up a time. We're gonna say it'll be 3 o'clock. The end time will be 4 o'clock. So most of you will have ongoing students, so the next step is really important. You're going to want to set up reoccurring sessions. So say you meet with a student on Mondays and Wednesdays of every week at the same time, and you need to set that type of schedule up. So you're going to repeat by day. You're going to pick those sessions. So I meet with this student and please notice some of these buttons are a little off kilter here. So I meet with this student every Tuesday and Thursday. Or I'm sorry, let's make that since it was today's date. So I'm going to say every Wednesday and Friday I meet with this student. The end date, if you happen to know an end date, by all means pick that. Typically we see students ongoing for quite some time. I would find it helpful to probably just book out by a year or book out, a lot of times schedules shift between summer schedules and school schedules. So if you want to book it out until, let's say June, we'll book it out till the end of June. And then, oops, that should be 2016. There we go. And then always be sure to click the save button so that all of this information will be saved. So I'm going to click save. And now you will see all of these appointments will pop up on the calendar from the start date, which was today, on through every single week. So if you have appointments, say you have an appointment that occurs on Wednesdays at 3, but on Fridays you meet with the student at 5, then you would need to book these individually as repeats. So you would set Wednesdays, you'd go back through the whole process again, and you would book just on the repeat day. You would book Tuesdays, would always occur at 3, and you would save that, and then you would go back in and you would book your Thursdays or Fridays, I'm sorry, Fridays at 5. If that's unclear, please contact me. We'll get it figured out. If for any reason you have any troubles with any of this, please let me know, because I can go in and as administrator and I can do this step for you if for any reason you have difficulty. So please do not hesitate to let me know. Okay, so now you have all of your sessions set. So if you go back to the home page, this will show all of my upcoming lessons. It shows my unreconciled lesson that is occurring today. And I didn't place a birthday on this pretend student, so it doesn't display that. But this will show all of your upcoming sessions with your students. So let me go back to the calendar. So that's all the information you need to enter. I know for some of you, you have a pretty full schedule with a lot of students, so it may take a few some time to actually enter in all of your students. If you need any help with that, please don't hesitate to let me know. Again, this whole system is going to take effect January 21st on. So any appointments occurring January 21st on should be included on your TutorPanel calendar. Let me go back to the calendar here. Okay, so here's quite possibly the most important step. So instead of you having to submit any invoices or any of that, I'm going to be able to go in as an administrator and I will be able to pull all the information I need to run billing for clients from this calendar, so that you're no longer having to produce those invoices or chart notes or anything like that. So once you have met with your student at the end of the day or the next day, whatever works best for you, we ask that you try to complete the reconciling task within 24 hours of the appointment occurring, so that it is fresh in your mind and that things don't stack up. The reconciling process should only take you a few minutes. So once you have met with a student and they have attended the session, everything's great, you're going to go back into the session in order to reconcile it. This can be done from your computer. It can also be done from any smartphone device. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the appointment. Just click once and you will see this window pop up. From this window, you can do a number of things. You can view the session in its entirety, any notes that you may have included, those kinds of things. You can edit it, you can delete it, and you can reconcile it. So please take note that if you're going to delete a session, the only reason you should be deleting a session is if it was a session that was canceled far in advance and it is not being rescheduled, anything like that. Say somebody left for spring break and those sessions aren't going to occur, you are welcome to just delete them from your calendar. So I'm going to show you that process. So you click on the delete function. Please always select this lesson only. The only reason you should select this lesson in future reoccurrences is if you are canceling the sessions, all future sessions because the student is no longer going to be working with you, or whatever, they're taking the entire summer off, whatever that might be, that's the only reason that you would be deleting all future recurrences. So I only want to delete this one session, so this session only should be the button selected, then click delete. So it'll delete just that session. All other sessions will still be included on my calendar. So I'm going to have to add that session back real quick so that I can show you I can show you the reconciling process with this future appointment. So once you've met with a student and you've completed the session, all you need to do is click back on here, and within 24 hours, you need to reconcile these sessions. Please click on the reconcile button. Again, you can also do this from any smartphone device. It should only take you a few minutes. Click reconcile, and up pops the reconcile lesson page. From this, you can change any information needed. So she attended the session, everything was great, but let's say the session went 15 minutes over. So I'm going to change this to 4:15. Oh, not 12:15, sorry, 4:15. So added that 15 minutes. From here, you'll have all the selections you need. I'm going to say that she attended the appointment. So attended is just the student attended the session. Everything was fine. Everything was, just a regular session. So you would click attended. The other options are canceled. Please only select canceled if the student canceled with 24-hour notification, and there will be no charge to this session. So they canceled in advance, within 24-hour notification. Again, our cancellation policy is that all parents are aware of is that they need to provide the specialist with 24 hours notification, or make an effort to supply them, with that cancellation information, so that they aren't charged for that time. We value your time, and we want families to value your time, and we don't want them to make a habit of no showing or canceling at the last minute. So that's why we have this cancellation policy in effect. There are some things that we wouldn't charge for. So if a family calls because their student came home from school sick and they need to cancel that session, we obviously won't charge for that because we don't want the sick student around you either. So if there's an emergency or if the student is ill, then we obviously will not charge for that, and you'll still select canceled with notification. So always select canceled if it is a cancellation that was given notice, and you will not be charging for that session. So the opposite of that would be if it's a missed. So please select missed if the student no-showed, or say you received a text message 10 minutes before the session that they weren't going to make it, or whatever it might be that, they missed the session. This will then signal me to be sure to bill for that, for your time, even though it was missed, and as well as compensate you for it. So I'm going to go back to this student attended the session. So the next information that you would need is public notes and private notes, and what are the differences with those two. So public notes it will be viewed by parents, and it can be viewed by us. We will not be checking your public or your private notes on a regular basis. If there's anything you need to bring to our attention, please just email Barbara or I directly, so that we can address whatever issue there may be. So within the public notes is where you're going to insert any notes that will be viewed by the parents. These notes are going to be emailed automatically as soon as you click the save button. They will be emailed directly to the parents, so that they are informed of what's going on during each session, and you can include any information you find appropriate here. So I'm going to take a break from TutorPanel for just a moment. So with all of these changes, we are now going to supply you with lesson notes for every lesson within Barton. So it'll be as simple as pulling up those lesson notes. So given that this imaginary student just started, I'm going to pull up the Barton notes, and all of you will have received this for each lesson as soon as we get those out to you. So I'm going to say that she started with lesson 1 in book 1. And so I'm simply just going to copy and paste this into the notes. There's no need to include any kind of opening or salutation because the TutorPanel system will go ahead and do that all for you, where they address the parent and let them know that this is the notes for their session this week. So I'm going to copy and paste those notes. You're also welcome to include any quick little anecdotal information that makes it personal. You don't have to do this every time, but if there's anything that comes up, go ahead and include it here. I'm just going to say, great first session with Jane, and place that there. So this information will automatically be emailed to the parents. So all you need to do is copy and paste each lesson within that session. Private notes can be viewed by you only. PDX reading specialists, we can also view it as an administrator, but again, we're not going to be checking these regularly. So the private notes are for yourself. If this would be a great place to write a note of where you left off or any information that you would need for whatever reason. You can include here. So the only time that it is mandatory that you write anything within private notes is if the session was missed. So if there was a cancellation without 24-hour notification and you need to be reimbursed for that and the family will be charged for that, I would greatly appreciate if you can include a little note regarding what happened. That way, if for any reason the family takes issue with being charged for that missed session, I can provide them with that information and back you up and explain why they were charged for that session. So say the family canceled, they sent you a text message 15 minutes before the session, just include that and whatever explanation was given so that I can understand and back you up when any issue is taken with that charge so that you're removed from the situation completely. So it's the only time I ask that you absolutely include private notes. Otherwise, it's completely optional. This is just something that you can use for yourself. After you've input all this information, so you have the lesson date, you have the time, you adjusted it because it went 15 minutes later than expected. And, again, as a reminder, we bill in 15-minute increments. Sessions are set for 1 hour typically. 50 minutes of that hour is set for you to meet with the student one-on-one. 10 minutes of that hour is set aside for you to reconcile your session, write any of these notes where you're actually just copying and pasting those notes, and any prep that you need in terms of setting up or breaking down. This should only take you a few minutes now rather than having to come up with notes on your own or create those invoices at the end of each month where they pile up. So if you take a few minutes each night and reconcile your sessions, this should run very smoothly. So once you've entered in all of this information, you're going to check this box to email notes. Please be sure to always check this box, otherwise the parents will not receive your notes. So please check to email notes, and then always click save to save your changes. Click save. So now on your appointment that you just reconciled, you'll see this little check mark. This is a signal that to both us and to you that the session has been reconciled and you no longer need to deal with this appointment, as it occurred and everything's reconciled. So I'm going to go back through another scenario. So say, I'm going to go back in here for reconcile. So say this student, I'm going to pull all this information out of here and we're going to kind of start over here. So bear with me for a moment while I reset what you would see once we click back on it. Okay, so this shows that it was the email notes were sent, but we're going to pretend that basically what we're going to say is that this session needed to be rescheduled. Say the parents called you a couple days in advance. Jane has a doctor's appointment or whatever it might be, so they need to reschedule with you. So if they need to reschedule to a new date, just simply change it. So let's say instead of Friday, they would like to meet with you on Saturday. So we're going to meet on Saturday instead. Go ahead and change that date. You're still going to meet, let's say you're still going to meet with them 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, so you can go ahead and leave that and just leave it set for unreconciled or rescheduled. Then go ahead and save your changes. Now you will see that the appointment has been moved to Saturday and it is not reconciled. Nothing has been done to it. All that has happened is you've simply rescheduled that appointment. So then once the appointment occurs, you go back through the entire process again where you would reconcile it as usual, send your notes, be sure you select attended, and those kinds of things. So if you have any questions about this process, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'm happy to go through this again with anybody if needed. So that's how you reconcile sessions. That's how you input your lesson notes, send to parents. So we're hoping that this system really improves communication with parents so that they're feeling more informed and more involved regarding their students' progress, making things easier for you in terms of submitting invoices, tracking your schedule and your students, any contact information. All these things should be and will be included within this. So I should also go ahead and explain how things will work should you receive any future students. So within that process, what's going to happen is we are still going to reach out to you specifically or to the entire team, letting you know that we have a new student that's in need of a specialist, their preferred schedule, their location, and their needs. If you're interested, then you would continue through the process, emailing us back, letting us know that you're available and you're interested. We would set up a time for you to connect with Barbara so that she can pass on the student's background information and kind of let you know the details of the student's assessment if we did one and those kinds of things. Once everything is good to go with you and you're on board for taking on the student, then I will reach out to the family by email. I will send them your bio, introducing you and letting them know that you're excited to get started with their student. When I send out that email, I also send out some paperwork, things like our enrollment terms agreement as well as our payment agreement. Once we receive the enrollment agreement and the payment agreement back from the family, and I have that information, then I will send on the family's contact information just as I always have by email, letting you know that they're ready to get started. Please contact the family as soon as possible. Most families are chomping at the bit to get started. So if you could please reach out to the family within 1 to 2 days to introduce yourself, confirm the schedule, share your contact information, all the things that you normally would do. Confirm when you're confirming the schedule, please confirm the location and the start date and all those kinds of things, just as you always have. Once that process has been completed, you will also notice that on the back end, on the administrative end, I've also added the new student to your roster. The family will also receive information on TutorPanel and how that whole system works. From the parent's side, TutorPanel is where they can access their schedule. So they will be able to view just their student, their schedule. They'll be able to view any past lessons, any future lessons. They'll be able to view the lesson notes there. Again, they will receive, once you reconcile each session, they will receive those lesson notes. So please try to keep up on that process so that parents are constantly feeling as though they're informed about what's going on with their child during those sessions. The family will also be able to view your contact information. Again, the only thing they can view from your profile page is your name, your phone number, and your email address. So they can grab a hold of your contact information if needed and those kinds of things. So once that whole process has started and you have connected with the family and introduced yourself, confirmed the schedule, and done all of those things, then please be sure to log into TutorPanel and add those sessions to your TutorPanel calendar so that the parents are aware of the schedule and you have everything set in there so that when billing comes around, it's all done. I will periodically be checking the calendar, viewing everybody's sessions to make sure that reconciling is happening on a regular basis. I understand some things come up. The only critical date is that I ask that regardless of whatever happens, please have all sessions reconciled by 7 a.m. on the 21st of every month. When I produce all of the invoices for families, I go in on the 21st, the morning of the 21st, and I'm going to pull and print all of your hours from these calendars so that I can go ahead and process all of those invoices. So please, 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 please have your invoices, or not your invoices, please have all your sessions updated as reconciled by 7 a.m. on the 21st of every month. I will do my best to send out reminders if I catch anything that hasn't, been updated. Most of your sessions should be, again, be updated within 24 hours of the session occurring. But I understand that there are going to be sessions that occur at, the evening of the 20th, and sometimes it's difficult to get those sessions reconciled that same evening. So I ask that you please just have those, those few sessions that occur reconciled by the next morning so that I can go ahead and produce all of those invoices. So where do we go from here? So once you've received your login information and you've gone in and you've played around with the system for a little while, please be sure to add all of your students' schedules to your calendar starting January 21st. So any appointments that occur January 21st and on need to be inputted into your TutorPanel account. Again, if for any reason you have difficulty, please let me know, because I can go in as administrator and I can take care of this initial process for you. I understand many of you have a full schedule and many students, and this might be overwhelming, but it should not take very long. It should only take a few minutes per student when setting up their ongoing schedules. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call or email me, and I will walk you through this process. Happily, again, I can share my screen and do an online meeting. We can meet in person. We can talk over the phone, whatever works best for you. So hopefully I've hit all of the points that any questions that you might have. Again, please don't hesitate